Davienomar in the cut. Davienomar in the cut. Mr. Omar in the cut. Mr. Omar in the cut. Yeah, I'm back with another reaction video. Listen, bro. Look. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this shit terrible. I'm trying to show y'all what time it is. Can't see it. It's terrible, but it says 2:51 right now, man. 2:51 in the morning. Now you see what you be dealing with when you be watching these reaction videos, why it looks so nighttime theme, you know what I'm saying? I ain't going to get all that extra shit, but this is why giraffes turn into trees. Let's get into this reaction video. Before we start, let's get me to one. I was about to messing up my. Get me to 100 subs, whatever. I don't know how I do it. I forgot, but yeah, we about to get straight into this. Come on.
There's an ancient Greek myth about Apollo and Daphne. He was too persistent in his courtship, and she asked other gods for help and turned into a tree. Well, you know these myths. They have nothing to do with real life. That's what I used to think until I saw what was happening to the animals. It's easy to become a stone. Just stay in the ground a couple of million years and you'll get there, just like this crab. But how can you turn into a tree? Without asking the ancient Greek gods for help, of course. Sometimes you just have to search thoroughly. And deep in a park, you will surely come across a fish. At the very least, yeah. This is actually a real fish. Maybe millions of years ago, it got trapped in the roots, and then the tree's too small to be that old. But where did this fish come from then? The answer is the effect called pareidolia. This is a visual illusion where the outlines of one object resemble another. A smiling garbage bin, a face on the moon, a cloud looking like a rabbit. You get the idea, right?
Hi. Maintain your lawn and your vehicle with help from Menards. Works.
I ain't started thinking about it till now.
Need to keep your yard looking great.
The stuff off the like the trees and like the stone in the ground do look similar to animals and stuff like that. I ain't started thinking about it till I start watching this video. That's something I'm about to start paying attention to when I be outside observing and stuff.
But pareidolia does not explain how an animal can turn into a tree. I mean, for real. Though the answer actually exists. You can find it back in the 13th century. Back then, one Persian source mentioned a rabbit with a unicorn-like horn. Later, rabbits with horns appeared in European folklore, and then they even started drawing them in natural science textbooks of that time. Imagine, your school textbook would dedicate a whole chapter to such creatures.
I thought those things were fake. Really? Hey!
Though by the end of the 18th century, scientists abandoned the notion that hares with horns are a separate biological species, but the animals have not gone anywhere. Most likely, not all horned hares were believed to have actual horns. Some clearly looked as if they were about to grow branches and become part of the nearby grove. Why? Take a look at this hopper spotted in our days. It looks like a tree stump with knots sticking out in different directions. Also, it does not look all that healthy. But if you lived in the 15th century and saw a rabbit with a couple of protuberances on its head, you would probably think these are horns. And most likely, you would decide this is some kind of rabbit demon. Because at that time, you would not have known these demons possess not only hares or rabbits.
Ooh, that's nasty.
Jesus Christ! How are you?
Giraffes. When you watch them in some national park, you may notice strange growths on their necks. There are many of them. They look solid and resemble the bark of a tree. Seems like giraffes unwittingly turn into the wood without changing their lifestyle. They feed on leaves, interact with each other, go to a watering hole. By the way, does eating leaves not count as cannibalism in this case? Hey you have something around your neck. Hey, can't you see? Right there. No, below. God, bring this guy a mirror. In fact, these growths don't really bother the giraffes. I mean, not at all. Most likely, they don't even feel them unless the bark starts itching and continue to live their life. Is it getting shorter? Does not seem so. Did giraffes strike roots? Not likely. But what is it anyway? Some kind of syndrome of the mythical Daphne? Or do giraffes get covered with bark because they don't move their necks enough? Not quite. These growths are caused by the animal papillomavirus. Humans can also get infected with another of its types. Our virus looks something like this. It's easily transmitted through micro cracks in the skin or mucous membranes. They say that sometimes just touching a contaminated by an infected person is enough to contract it. In theory, giraffes shouldn't have this issue, if only because they don't have to hold onto doorknobs and other stuff like that, but the virus still spreads. It's believed to be passed from giraffe to giraffe through oxpeckers, which feed on ticks on the animal's skin. You get the peeling and papillomavirus as a bonus.
Thank you.
The same disease can be contracted by cattle, but what's important is that it's not fatal. Yes, I agree, it does not look very nice, especially since you know this is not the bark of a tree, but something like warts. But the virus is not threatening the life of the animal. The only problem it can cause is itching. Continuous scratching of the affected area can lead to infection.
That nigga
but other than that,
scratching on the
giraffes do not
branch, he
seem to
going
be
crazy.
bothered by it. Maybe they just got used to it. I've not found out when exactly this virus first appeared, but it looks like it's more than 420 million years old. It's believed that the papillomaviruses evolve slowly compared to many other types of viruses. Perhaps the virus levels up together with the animal host, and in this case, nature seems to be in no rush. So it seems that the only ones who are surprised by these tree-like formations on the bodies of animals are humans. Hunters are unlikely to target an infected animal because the trophy will not look aesthetically pleasing. And that's what people's passion for hunting is all about. Predators in the wild don't care at all because the virus does not affect the quality of the meat in any way. What do you think about the papilloma on the body of the giraffe? Any comments on this? And if you think such cases with growths are extremely rare and can only be found in Africa, this photo of a deer was taken in Minnesota. Yes, he's also infected with the same virus. He's feeling fine. Perhaps the growths are blocking the view or something like that, but the animal is not in terrible pain. Also, over time, huge warts can simply fall off. Hold on, but if these things on the giraffe's neck do not turn it into a walking tree, it means that animals are not capable of such a transformation at all? Yeah, tell that to turtles, whose shells sometimes grow a layer of moss thicker than some trees. Turtles, of course, can't grow branches. On the other hand, they would definitely get in the way of swimming. And frankly, moss is not good for turtles. After all, they're not sloths who grow algae in their fur as camouflage. Oh, you remember, I already told you about that. A man can also become a tree. You've probably heard of these poor fellows whose bodies are covered with strange growths that look like bark. The disease is called epidermodysplasia verruciformis. And this came as a surprise to me. It's also connected to the papillomavirus.
Very interesting findings. This is really a unique case.
When I learned this, I was even upset. Turning into a tree is such an incredible thing to discuss, and now we find out it's caused by some virus? And there are no real metamorphoses? Well, except for moss and algae on animals. But then I thought, what if no one can turn into a tree because we're all a little like trees already? There's only one type of DNA on our planet, and all creatures and plants share it. This DNA is made up of just 4 bases: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. The bases code the amino acids that form proteins. I will not go into sophisticated details. The point is that because of these 4 bases, we are all very similar at the DNA level. Both animals and plants share many similar genes. If you print out the human genetic code, it'll take about 262,000 pages. Of these pages, only about 500 will be unique. Now, just wrap your mind around this. There is a significant genetic similarity between you and that tree growing next to your house. The same goes for a chimpanzee, mouse, fruit fly, or tulip. The degree of similarity, of course, is different, and hardly anyone can confuse the palm tree with your grandmother, but
Child.
humans and, well, let's say bananas, share 60% of their DNA. Have you ever felt this close to a banana? However, if this figure does not work for you, and you are, let's say, a giraffe who's always dreamed of being a baobab, you will have to stick to a different plan. First, you need to live a long, happy life as a giraffe. There's no way around it. Secondly, you find a place where the baobabs grow. Third, wait a little longer. Well, you get the idea. When the time comes, the trees will begin to absorb nutrients from the animal's body and, yes, in a sense, mix together. Biologists will probably disagree with me, but actually the giraffe will indeed become part of the baobab over time. A very small one, but still a part. Okay, let's take a look at another example. Take a squirrel. You've definitely heard about how they bury nuts, forget where exactly they were buried, and then whole forests grow this way. What would we do without them? But I'm interested in something else. Let's say the squirrel swallowed some kind of seed, it wasn't digested in time, and for some reason the squirrel died. Too bad for the squirrel, but the seed inside it did not die. It begins to grow, absorbing all the necessary elements from the squirrel body and becomes a tree. Turns out that the squirrel has been reborn into a tree. Wow, it's even cooler than a caterpillar that turns into a butterfly. You say you have wings? Ha! I'm an oak now. See you later.
Appreciate it, my buddies off the screen. It's crazy, man. I'm telling you, watching these videos for me. Man, you learn something new every day. You know what I'm saying? But we out there, man. Give me to 100 subscribers. You know what I'm saying? And we out the cut, man. Love y'all boys, man. Y'all boys be safe. For real.